What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. So, Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards has come under fire for some comments that he's made about, the 90s basketball, etc. Basically, what he said is, I got the quote on the screen. He said, I didn't watch it back in the day, so I can't speak on it, right? They say it was tougher back then than it is now, but I don't think anybody had skill back then. Michael Jordan was the only one that really had skill, you know what I mean? So that's why they saw Kobe. They were like, oh my God. But now everybody has skill. So, okay, first of all, he started it with, I didn't watch it back in the day, so I can't speak on it. That should have ended his sentence right there. But he kept going, okay? Ant is a very, very young dude. All he knows is, as a young person, I better not disrespect Michael Jordan. So he made sure to say Mike, because he knows how lauded Mike is as the GOAT. I better not say Mike is not skilled. All he knows is don't disrespect Mike and Kobe. That's all he knows. Because there's been an emphasis on, around YouTube, there is an audience of you better not disrespect Mike, you better not disrespect Kobe. So that's all he knew, is to cover his grounds with that and say everybody else didn't have skill. And I think there needs to be a bigger discussion about how talented the players in Michael Jordan's era was, right? Like, Mike didn't go up against a ton of super teams, but the individual talent on a lot of these different rosters were outstanding. Yeah, he didn't play a team. Mike didn't play a team like the Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. He didn't play anything like that, right? He didn't, play a team with LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh on it. He didn't play a team with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden on it, etc. He didn't play those type of teams, but he went up against the likes of Hakeem Olajuwon, who is one of probably the most skilled big man we have ever seen in NBA basketball. Seriously, footwork, everything, defense, all that. He is the most skilled big man we've ever seen. Then he played against a guy like Charles Barkley was 6'4", playing the four. 6'4", playing power forward. Do y'all know how hard that is? How skilled, how athletic, how dominant you have to be at 6'4" to play power forward, right? Then you had Isaiah Thomas, okay? Zeke, Chicago, Illinois, like me, best player to ever come out the Chi. We probably could have had a different discussion had Derrick Rose would have had a healthy career, but he didn't. So Isaiah Thomas gets that praise regardless, without you can't contest that. Zeke was a 6-foot point guard. Some say 6'1", 6 feet. He led his team to a championship, dog. Do you know how hard that is to do? As a small guard, small guards were not leading their teams to championships. They were not. It was the wing players and the big man back in that day. It was not the small guard. Zeke was the first small guard to lead his team to a chip. For real. And he wasn't doing it he got one top 75 player, Dennis Rodman, on his teams, right? He didn't have another top 50 greatest player because Dennis wasn't included in the top 50 greatest players of all time. He wasn't included in that original list. Zeke had a season, he averaged 21 points and 14 assists. 14 dimes, okay? Now I'm going to tell you, and this is why Magic Johnson was so pissed off. And I don't know why I didn't bring this up at the beginning of the video. Magic was so pissed because he like, dog, do you know the talent that was around? Magic say, hold on, I'm not listening to anybody. He's talking about Anthony Edwards. I'm not listening to nobody who did not win a championship. He be like, Ant didn't win a championship in the NBA. He didn't win one in college. He probably didn't win one in high school. I'm not listening to that. And some people felt like it was harsh for Magic to say, because Magic doesn't talk this harshly only sometimes, like when he called Russell Westbrook's performance at the half one of the worst point guard performances he's ever seen. He only does it every so often, right? But again, he's pissed because Magic is regarded as the greatest point guard to ever play the game. 6'9", dribbling a basketball like that, throwing no-look dimes like that. Again, have to have the high IQ that Magic Johnson had. 3-time Finals MVP, 3-time League MVP. There are people who believe that Kobe Bryant is not the best Laker of all time. They believe it's Magic Johnson, without question. A lot of people believe that, right? And I can't argue against it because Magic's accolades speak for itself. Had Magic would have played a longer career, like a lot of people would have been like, "Yo, hey, he's the better Laker than Kobe," even though Kobe is a pantheon all-time great, right? So Magic, greatest point guard to ever play the game. Isaiah Thomas in the same era. People see, like, for real, people look at Zeke as the second greatest point guard to ever live. Some might say Steph, but Steph Curry is not a traditional point guard. Draymond be bringing the ball up the court a lot of times and stuff like that. Like, Steph is not a traditional, he's like a combo guard. True point guard, Isaiah Thomas, second greatest point guard ever. Some people feel like the only difference between him and Magic was that Magic was 6'9", and Isaiah was 6'1", 6 feet. But I'm going to tell you this. Isaiah Thomas beat Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, in playoff runs, dog. Like, what are we talking about? Then you had Larry Bird. Larry was just not he was a phenomenal shooter. Phenomenal. A phenomenal shooter. But his passing ability was outstanding. Larry was a great passer. Then you had Clyde Drexler. Clyde was nice. Clyde was nice. He was a dog. Then you had Dominique Wilkins, right? Dominique was just not an athlete, just not a dude that was just a dunker. This wasn't no Stromae Swift. This was a dude that was solely making the Atlanta Hawks relevant for years and years and years. Then you even got John Stockton. John got the most assists all time. Is John top? Is he number one? And who's number one in steals? It might be John. John played John was defensively great, offensively great in that pick and roll with Karl Malone. We see with Karl Malone, at one point, Karl was the second leading scorer in NBA history. Now he's the third because LeBron is the number one all-time leading scorer. Like, playing that power forward position, Karl might be a creep. He might be the nasty creep dude that abandons his kids and tries to avoid paternity. But as a player, listen, Karl was outstanding. Then you had Grant Hill, who was basically, a lot of people thought Grant was going to be the, not the predecessor. He was going to be the second, they thought he was going to be the second coming of Michael Jordan. Because Grant was that skilled. Like, barring injury, Grant Hill would have been an NBA champion, would have been, a pantheon, all-time great player. Then you had certain guys, I said Olajuwon, said Magic Johnson. You had Alonzo Mourning. You had Sean Kemp. You had Tim Hardaway, Chicago's own. You had David Robinson, Defensive Player of the Year. David had a quadruple double with 10 blocks. Defensive Player of the Year, NBA MVP, two-time NBA champion. You had Chris Webber in that era. You had Gary Payton, lock-up defender, but could also give you 20 points a game. What? Latrell Sprewell. You had, again, I said Chris Webber. Scottie Pippen, who was the main defender on the opposing, when he on the Chicago Bulls, he was the primary defender of the team's toughest offensive player. Seriously. Scottie was guarding Magic Johnson. Scottie could do it all. He could score, he could rebound, he could assist. He was a Swiss Army knife. Anthony Edwards got to cool that out, man. He got to cool that out.